Good morning, welcome to another episode of HardFoul Radio. This is the show that values time. I value mine, you should value yours. So let's get started. We have to start off with the current less than flattering shit show that is the Denver Broncos. That's my team, love them, supported them for years. So let's discuss. So there's two views on Denver. There is the fan opinion and then there's the expert opinion. Let's look at both. The fan opinion is they're the worst team in the league. They're offensively a joke. They're boring to watch on TV. People are sick and tired of watching them 4 primetime games in 6 weeks. And they are the current class of NFL Twitter jokes. Like, there's other teams that are worse, there's other teams that are just as bad, there's teams with less wins, but they're the easiest team to clown on because they've been in primetime so much. And they've been in primetime so much because the offseason edition of Russell Wilson led to a lot of hype, and Denver thought this was going to work, the NFL clearly thought this was going to work, which is why they gave them all those primetime slots, and 19-16 overtime, 11-10 overtime, 15-12 or 12-9 overtime. Like, these are not exciting games, and fans have been forced to watch as a standalone game. And I do say forced because we all love football. We all watch, I was one of the millions of people who watched Bears Commanders, and trust me, that game wasn't exciting either. But we knew that the Bears and Commanders aren't going to be on TV in primetime slots that much. So comparatively to the Bears, who actually are on Monday Night Football again this week, but they're going to be there twice this season. Denver's got, I think it was 7 primetime games this year. So we've seen a lot of Denver in a primetime standalone slot, and they have been fun games to watch. Now, they've been good defensive games, and Denver's defense is elite. But fans don't care about that. Fans see 11-10, 12-9, 19-16. Like, 19-16 was the high-scoring game. That lets you kind of know how Denver's offense has been. And because we've been exposed to them so much, this feels a lot like a team we're going to talk about coming up in the Lakers. This feels a lot like a team that sports media talks about way too much in terms of the Dallas Cowboys, because they're always on TV. They've got these big national game of the weeks. They've got Sunday Night Football, these primetime moments over the course of their franchise's history that we get sick of as fans, get sick of the Cowboys quicker. Because if they're not good, they're essentially forced down our throat. And so Denver right now, to the fans, has been forced down everybody's throat. So totally understands fans being sick of them, not just the Broncos fan base, who feels the way of like, oh, we finally get back on primetime, and Denver had, I believe, only 1 primetime game last year, or 0 primetime games last year, which got flexed into 1. And then since Manning has had less and less primetime games overall. And Denver fans are like, oh yeah, we're going to be good this year. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be great. And then now it's just not. And then to regular fans, it's like, why do I have to keep watching this shit show of a team? The same way they get annoyed of the Cowboys and other teams that are in those primetime slots that they feel just don't deserve it. Especially if they feel their team is better. As a fan of the team, I've been sick of them during some of these games too. Then there's the expert. Some experts have obviously gone too far, and there has been a lot made about early on this season about the personal attacks on Russell Wilson, the kind of guy he is, his character, like legit personal attacks. Oh, he's too corny. Oh, he's fake. There is zero reason ever, if you're in sports media, to ever feel the need to go after someone's character. It's ridiculous, and on any level of player, by the way, it's ridiculous when they do it against a guy like Russ. It's ridiculous when they do it against a guy like LeBron. It's ridiculous when they do it to someone even like Ben Simmons. And you could say Russ is outright underperforming as the quarterback who just received a $245 million contract extension that you just traded several players and picks for. That's fine to say. The personal attacks, calling them like, and I'm talking about experts. I'm talking people that actually have a legitimate voice on radio, television, the internet. People who have, regardless of if it's fair or not, have a voice that can sway the average person or consumer. If it was on a year-by-year basis, if we just judged this year in isolation, maybe it wouldn't look as bad. But here's the thing, and here's the problem that Russ is going to have, here's the problem that the Broncos are going to have, and this is something that Rob Walton and the new ownership group is going to really have to genuinely look at, which is Denver has entered, and they might be the most successful fan base to have entered this. They're tired. And I'm talking about tired, and when I'm talking about tired of this current stretch, and I'm talking most successful team, let's take just in the realm of football. When you get to basketball and baseball, it's a little more weird, but teams can pay a lot more money and fix shit a lot quicker. Denver is one of the 5 most successful franchises in football. And I don't have the time to argue with every single person about this. Go look at their winning percentage, amount of Super Bowls, playoff appearances. You go look at all the numbers. Denver's one of the 5 most successful franchises in football. And that's hurting them currently. This is a fan base that has sold out every single game, I believe, since '76. The longest was before COVID, and because COVID games don't count because you couldn't have fans, Denver still has the longest sellout streak of any NFL fan base. Think about that. And here's the one I was talking to Tony and Will, and I had brought up the point, it's so frustrating seeing the offense like this again, especially after giving so much money to Russell Wilson, because this is now going to be going on almost a decade-long problem of offense. It'd be different if you just lost, if you were bad, but you were losing different ways, right? Like, the Lions right now are still a bad or not really good football team, but at least they're scoring points now, and it looks like they like their coach, and they're playing with energy, and it's, there is such a thing as a fun way or an inspiring way to lose. Denver's on a run right now where we're going on a decade of great defense, and the offense is just getting worse, and worse. Like I said, when I signed to Tony Willen, I was like, look, the craziest thing about Denver's offense is in 2013, they were the number 1 offense in NFL history. That was Manning, Eric Decker, Julius Thomas, Demaryius Thomas, rest in peace, Noshawn Marino. They were scoring points on everybody. Now, everybody remembers how that season ended. They lost to Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. Then, obviously, they made the shift, and Denver started bringing a bunch of defensive guys, and they got the number 1 defense in the league 2 years later, and they won a Super Bowl in 2015. And it's great when you win a Super Bowl with a great defense, and at that point, Peyton was shot in 2015. Let's look at Denver's offense since 2013, since that all-time record-breaking season. Just their ranks, right? So, in 2013, like I said, number 1 offense in NFL history. So they were obviously number 1 in the league. In 2014, number 2 offense in the league. Still really good. Then that 2015 year with Peyton Manning on his last leg and Brock Osweiler, they were the 19th ranked offense. These are their offensive rankings since that year. 22, 27, 24, then the last 4 years, 28, 28, 23, and this year, 32nd.